Chapter 16. The Great Dildo Flood. I snapped back into my own body and found I was in fact straddling John. In my hand, instead of a scalpel, was a pink dildo. I was pressing it against his chin, as if trying to slice it open. John, meanwhile, was cramming something into my face, something that was crumbling against my jaw. We were splashing around in an inch of dirty water. John said, "Eat it! Eat it, you son of a bitch!" I said, "Wait! Stop!" We both blinked and froze in place, taking in our surroundings. We were in the Venus flytrap, which had now succumbed to the encroaching flood. There were open, empty sex toy packages scattered around the floor, as if the place had been ransacked by looters looking to spice up their marriages. The place smelled like farts. I got up off John. He groaned and dumped something out of his hand, a handful of Oreo cookies he'd been trying to shove into my mouth, for some reason. He stood up out of the water, then lit a cigarette. I said, "What happened? How long was I out?" "I don't know. What's the last thing you remember?" "Soy sauce. At the Beanie Weenie cannery. I got some in my system. Everything went weird. Then I woke up here, just now." John nodded. "Yeah, me too. You took off running. You dove through a second-floor window." "No memory of that. I'm really sore, though. Got scratches all over me." I called out for Amy. No answer. A hint of sun was peeking through the windows from the east. There were several shopping sacks from a local hardware store near the door. I briefly looked through them and found several sealed plastic bags of a bright yellow powder. One had burst, spilling its contents. Sulfur. So that's where the stink was coming from. Had we bought it? If so, why? I checked to see if I had my phone, and did. I dialed Amy. She answered with, "Is this you? Where are you?" "Venus flytrap. I woke up and John and I were having a dildo battle." "Where have you been?" "Don't know. How long have I been gone? All night?" "All night? This is Monday morning. You've been gone for 2 days." "Oh. Shit. Have you not heard from me at all?" "You took the soy sauce, you looked at Chastity and yelled, 'It's dildos all the way down, baby,' and ran out of the building. You had told her to wait an hour, but you never came back. That was Friday night. She actually stayed until the next morning, but she's long gone now. I hear nothing all day Saturday or Sunday. I've been worried sick. What were you doing for 2 days?" "No idea. Maybe it'll come back to me." "And nobody's come after you?" She said, "Not so far. Maybe they don't work weekends." Okay, so where are you staying?" "I've been sleeping at the Beanie Weenie. Didn't know where else to go. Been sleeping in my clothes on the sofa, freezing at night. Got Nikki to bring me food. Nobody has bothered me here, though." "Okay, good. Well, shit, I'm sorry, Amy. But maybe John and I took care of it. While we were on the sauce, maybe we fixed everything. Have there been, any more developments while we were gone?" "Yes, 10 more kids have gone missing." "Did you say 10? "Went missing yesterday, all from the same place, the Roach Motel. They were the biker kids. They had a room there they were using as a daycare. Yesterday, most of the bikers were out at a memorial for Lemmy. They came back. The lady who was watching the kids was frantic. Says she turned her back for 1 second and they were gone. Christ's rebellion is on the warpath. They're tearing the town apart." "Shit. Wait, now hold on. Are these real kids, or is this a situation like Mikey?" "I've seen photos." "Oh. You have?" "Yeah. I'm talking to the parents now. I'm at the motel." "What are you doing out there?" "I just told you. We're trying to help them find out what's going on. What do you think I was doing all weekend? I'm working the case." All right. We'll be there. The world doesn't just grind to a halt when you're not around, David." "I know. I'm sorry. Jesus. I love you." "I love you too." I hung up and we sloshed out into the parking lot. John's Jeep was parked there, so we'd apparently gone back to get it at some point. A sign on the Venus flytrap door announced they had closed until further notice due to flood conditions. The entire neighborhood wasn't underwater, not yet, but at this point it was a few islands of dry land where certain lots and patches of road were elevated. Everything else was swamped by a couple of inches of swirling brown water, the currents carrying sticks and garbage and clumps of dead grass. We went upstairs to find the apartment pretty much as I'd left it, aside from the fact that there were now boxes piled everywhere. There were 10 cases of Mountain Dew Code Red stacked by the door. There was a shipping invoice on the card table. Apparently, I had spent part of the Mikey Payton reward money having a bunch of soda overnighted to the apartment. Nearby were 8 much larger boxes labeled Velvet Soft Erotic Silicone Buttocks. One of us, hopefully John using his credit card, had apparently bought every single rubber-ass sex toy from the shop downstairs. I looked at John and started to ask if this was his doing, but he just shook his head, slowly. No memory either way. I dug out a bottle of Mountain Dew and told him about the missing kids. Wait, just hold on. If they're decoys, could they just brainwash a whole group like that? A whole community? That, I said, is what we have to figure out first. I went into the bathroom to take a piss and saw that scrawled on the mirror were 3 words, written backward in what was hopefully black dry erase marker. It was, Atterall Ot Clot. It was Talk to Loretta, written in a mirror image, which made no sense because the text was written on the mirror itself, so it still read backward to me. If they'd written it on the wall behind the mirror, that would have worked. I recognized the handwriting as John's. I said, I think we're supposed to go talk to Ted's wife. I rubbed the ink on the mirror. It was not dry erase. John looked it over and said, Why didn't we just go talk to Loretta instead of leaving ourselves a note to do it later? No. John, what? You didn't leave a bunch of cryptic clues behind because you wanted to do a dude where's my car situation. You did not do that. Please tell me. What if I did? I'm sure I had a good reason. You know what? I bet the butts are a clue too. Oh my God. Look, what matters is that we go talk to Loretta, like the note says. Maybe she'll have the next clue. Fuck you. We're going to the Roach Motel. That's where Amy is. I thought for a moment and said, It just occurred to me that she said we when she said she was at the motel. I wonder who's with her. Maybe it's the cops. Or it's that dude from work she's having an affair with. On the way to the motel, we came across several side streets that had been closed by the city for being underwater. Not enough to drown in, but definitely enough to ruin your traction if you weren't paying attention. I could only remember one really bad flood in my time living here, when I was 10. They had canceled school for 3 weeks, and then everything smelled like fish for a month after the water went down. This looked worse. The entrance to the Roach Motel parking lot was blocked by a pair of scary-looking biker dudes. We pulled up and the bigger of the two said, We're closed. Up from behind the men walked not Amy or Chastity, but that goddamned non-agent Helen Tasker. She muttered something to the big biker and he stepped aside, giving us the stink eye as we passed. I said to John, You didn't happen to bring a gun, did you? Just let me do the talking. We parked, and as soon as John jumped out, he said to Tasker, So you're not dead, then? Why would I be? You got shot right in the chest like 2 days ago. How high were you when you came to see me Friday night? I came to see you? So pretty high, then. I'm not repeating the conversation. My employers administered first aid, and I was back on duty within an hour. There's not even a scar. Impressive. Is your partner around? His brain was hit with a neuron scrambler, and his entire upper body was crushed by an SUV. He won't be back on duty until later this afternoon. John nodded. Sure. So can you give me a brief summary of what we talked about Friday night? You asked for my help. I did? Yes, with a bunch of children who were about to go missing. Amy approached from behind Tasker, wearing her red raincoat that made her look like the little girl from Schindler's List. She walked right up to Tasker and said, I got him to talk to me. He says half of the CR thinks the kids were taken by a rival gang called the Flatlanders. Some think they are raptured by God and that this is the end of the world. The rest think it was the Bat Mantis. Some say they even saw it that day. Amy glanced at me and John and said, You guys look awful. Tasker said, What was that third thing? I said, It's not relevant to the case. A YouTube video of a winged monster went viral around town. Now people think they're seeing it everywhere. Typical Bigfoot shit. So, you two are partners now? Exasperated, Amy looked at John and said, You told her to come find me. I said, All right, calm down. To Tasker, I said, The bikers are talking to you, despite the fact that you staged a weird battle in their parking lot like 2 days ago. Amy said, They think she's with the FBI. She has credentials from every agency. I said, Great. Have you broached the subject with the agent here that there might not be any missing kids at all, and it's all just a series of false memories planted by a hive of mind-controlling, shape-shifting bug monsters? The look on Agent Tasker's face confirmed that Amy had not in fact broached that subject. John said, "Wait, were you withholding that from her for a reason? In that case, forget we said anything." Amy hand-waved it away. "They've got documents, pictures. They're real kids." John scrunched up his eyebrows and thought, "Can we see the pictures?" We followed Tasker into the front office, which had apparently been commandeered by the, quote, FBI. It stank of cigarettes and engine grime. Tasker had the documents in a folder she pulled from a flat black briefcase that automatically unlocked when she spoke to it in Latin. She pulled out a handful of pages and handed them to John. He flipped through them and said it to Tasker. "And these all check out. They're not forgeries or anything?" "No. Why would they be?" He said to Amy, "You've looked at them too. They look genuine?" "They don't look like Photoshops or anything. I'm not an expert. Why?" John handed me the pages. Every single one of them was blank. I sighed. "You explain it. My head hurts." John took a breath, not sure where to start. Finally, he turned to Amy and said, "While I was on my soy sauce trip, I saw something. A memory, replayed from the third person. It was me showing up at the Knoll house, meeting with Detective Bowman. And we're talking, and Bowman asks for a recent photo, and Ted opens his wallet and hands the detective an old membership card from Blockbuster Video. The detective looks at it and starts talking like he's looking at a photo, asking if the girl's hair is still that long, and so on. Then he hands it to me, and I showed it to Dave when he arrived. Always that plastic blue and yellow Blockbuster card, each time we see a little girl's face. Which makes sense, because if the fuckroaches can rewrite memories from a certain distance away, then they can make you remember seeing what they want you to, a split second after you look. So the cops, or somebody, could devote a whole weekend to searching through government databases for these kids, and they'd have a vivid memory of successfully finding page after page of records. But if Dave and I were watching them work, and I mean right now while we're still under the effects of the sauce, we'd see them staring at a blank computer screen, or doing nothing at all. Amy said, No, it can't work like that." "Why not?" "Because then how could you trust anything you saw or heard?" I thought, exactly. Agent Tasker said, "You're going to need backup. What exactly are you suggesting?" So we told her. When we finished, she got an expression on her face, like a short-order cook who just saw a huge group of hungry drunks walk in 5 minutes before closing time. She said, "I have to talk to my superiors." I said, "Sure, let us know what they say." "You wouldn't be capable of understanding what they say. Go home and wait there. Don't talk to anyone. The news media will find out about the missing children eventually, but the longer we put that off, the better chance we have at containment. Are you listening?" I said, "Huh? Yes, thank you. I've been doing a lot of squats." She turned and banged through the door, showing no reaction to the driving rain. As soon as she was gone, I said to Amy, "We found a clue pointing toward Loretta, Ted Knoll's wife. We needed to go talk to her." "A clue?" John said, "I had written 'Talk to Loretta' on your bathroom mirror. Any idea why that you can think of?" "It sounds like a dude where's my car situation to me." "No, I mean why we need to talk to Loretta specifically." Amy said, "Well, I think Loretta has Maggie, or," Amy made one set of air quotes with her fingers, "she has Maggie." John said, "Oh, right." I said, "So we just have to go around and explain the situation. She'll understand, right?" John said, "You think 20 silicone sex butts would convince her?"